Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, May 2nd, the second day of the month. We survived April. We survived yesterday, and we're surviving all these earnings right now. The Apple stock, what do you think about that tracker? Going down a
Oh,
little bit.
I'm so sorry. I didn't even look at the Apple stock. What did they do?
Oh, well, they had earnings,
There's so
and
many earnings
it
this
just,
week.
I think it just went down to like 206 or something. Yeah, 207. That zone.
$2.07? No kidding. No, yeah, it just touched the top of the 8-hour cloud, and then it's right back up again. But of course, if it does the 8-hour cloud again, it could fall to about 200 or even 197. That's fine. I mean, it looks like it's definitely on an uptrend from the most recent low,
Yeah.
and an uptrend overall.
Oh,
That's Apple.
and I see some requests coming in. Yes, happy Friday, Mona and Shane. We see you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So yeah, I guess we can start to kick it off here. The market's going to open in about 1 hour, right? So
Yeah.
we'll see
We don't have any
if
crazy
things.
8:30 AM anything releasing today like yesterday, or I mean, 2 days ago.
Yeah, so let's see how things are going to develop. And you know what? Things are going to probably close under resistance today. And the 50-week moving average up there is at 568. So don't get overly excited when you guys see resistance because I think we could probably see some kind of correction next week if we do close at resistance today. So, with that said, just be a little bit more and more cautious with this 568 zone because it could just come back down to retest lower levels, maybe in the 550s or lower again next week. So, QQQ, same situation. It's at a 50-week moving average right there, almost pre market. We can see it's at 488, 485 is pre market price action. You have a little bit more resistance up here at the 497, but again, the closer we get to like 500 zone, I'm going to be more and more cautious because these market makers, they like to scare people, and a lot of people are thinking things are going to collapse again too. So they might just let people buy into that narrative while it's just going back to retest some support levels. But ideally, I would love to see QQQ start to stabilize on top of this cloud here in the weeks to come. And that would be around like the 483, 482 zone. So we'll see if that can maintain. But again, closer to 488, 497, closer to 500, I would just be a little bit more cautious for QQQ. IWM, this is actually going at the 200-week moving average and the 50% fib right now. So this has potential to maybe even close today, the week above it today, which would be a really good setup for the following week. So we'll see. But if not, again, let's be a little bit cautious at that $200 level because I don't know if it's really going to just break free the first time it touches after it broke below. So again, things are approaching their resistance zones, which means I am more cautious at resistance than I am at support. So let things do their natural process, go up to resistance, maybe get rejected, maybe even come back down to support, maybe the 190s again before getting all excited. So that leads me to Bitcoin here, and Bitcoin is still looking free and clear to go up to 102,000. The crypto stuff still looks pretty good, and I don't really see any kind of major scares for this. We can even go to the daily chart just to see what's going on. And the daily chart, it's just been riding that conversion line all the way up ever since it broke out above the 100-day and 200-day moving average. So we got a major like trend reversal for Bitcoin. And even if it did wanted to go back down to the 91, it wouldn't even scare me at all because that would just be a higher time frame support back test. But I think judging by a lot of the time frames, we could easily go up to the previous highs over here, which is around 99,000, and then after that 102. So I do think we can continue higher, perhaps over this weekend as well. Maybe get to the closer to the resistance by the weekly candle close on Sunday. And then if it does get closer to 102, I will be a little bit more cautious on Bitcoin as well because it'll be a little bit extended from all the stuff down below and it could retrace.
Oh, yeah. Look out for those retraces. Let's see. I just have a little I'll show you this little Bitcoin, this really micro chart that I've been watching. Which one is it? this one. Shoot. There we go. This is this one right here. So basically, we're at this important. This is it's Matt's 786 fib here. So if you look at a retracement from the 109,000 high back to the 49,577. Actually, I'm sorry. It's from the 499 577 up to the 109,000 high, and then I guess we have to look at it from this way. See, I drew it from this bottom to this top, and we retraced down this way, and now it's trying to break over the 786 fib again. So this is where either it dropped below it, was resistance, it sent it all the way down here. It's resistance again. It could send it back down one more time before breaking through. But it's a very important level to watch. And I've been watching it like on a 15-minute time scale chart. You can see got above the 786 and then kind of lost it, above it, lost it. I don't know. Now it's starting to look a little bit like a maybe a bearish wedge up. So be careful. There could be just a little bit of a pullback. But once we get a new higher high, maybe over 97,000, maybe that would tell us that it is going to go higher. I don't know. Watching these areas right here in Bitcoin. Tesla hasn't really changed for me since last time. I'm still watching for it to do this retracement. Let me go back to the weekly chart. So from that is not the right one. Here we go. From the 214.25 bottom we had, going back up to the all-time high of 488.54. We are right now just trying to get back. We went through the 11.4. We got up into the 23.6, and it really should go to at least the 38.2, maybe pull back to the 236, and then on to the 618. In other words, you are from here. It wants to do this, and then maybe this, and then maybe this. I see they're all waiting for the 786 up here, so it could run higher faster, but I'm looking for at least 319.03 next. And that's what I've been publishing for the last few days. 319.03. You know, long term, this thing goes to 700 and then 1,000, and Tesla will be really good. All right, Matt, how about you?
Yeah, there's really no change on Tesla for me. 280 is all I care about because that's the 50-week moving average, basically. So that's it. I just want to see it close above 280 today. Then we'll be good to go. So I have Oracle on my screen, and ORCL, we can see that it is approaching some resistance, the 1.618, the 150.26, and it is getting back above that conversion line this week. So it's a nice little trend reversal with that. But again, it's approaching resistance zone, so be a little bit more cautious at 150. It's a major fib. It is like the breakout zone back in 2024, and it's where price really broke below. So going back to flip it to resistance for the first touch could be possible before breaking through. So yeah, 150, be a little bit cautious there. Could come back down to retest lower levels in the 140s again after that. But I think it's trying to maybe stabilize inside the cloud. Let's see if that can happen. And in the following weeks, the bottom of the cloud is around 145. So that's what I'll be looking for to try to stabilize. But again, the closer we get to all this resistance above from 150 to 155, I will be a little bit more and more cautious with that.
All right, very cool. There's a question. What's today's max pain in options on Tesla? It's 272.50. That's this morning. That's what the options market says should be the max pain.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
All right. There's VST or Costco. Do you have those ready?
I don't. Let me.
I got a VST chart, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a VST just here. Just wanted to show you that it did break back above the 2618 fib, the 121.10, and it's approaching the baseline now, so 145.18. So the moral of the moral of the story is lots of things are approaching resistance this week with this weekly candle close. So we had a good recovery from the bottom, but now I don't know if things are ready to break out above, and that's kind of with a lot of things. So 145.18, that is what I'm watching for resistance. But if it does get rejected, I would like to see some kind of stabilization in the 120s down here, maybe 128, 129, in that zone. So that's for VST.
I've got RX Pharmaceuticals. This one, I'm my sister asked knock a few years ago. I'm not so sure about it. It went up and down and up and down, and not really making highs. So it's still making lower lows. If 379 was the bottom, then the price I'd be looking for would be 382, 618. If it could hold, that'd be the I should probably, but let's just say it's back to the 23.6, which I can see. But overall, the lifetime track of the stock has been down, and then now it's sort of consolidated, but keeps making lower lows and lower lows. Closer in last high from there to there. Uh, 2, 3, 6. So it's gonna. It looks like it's already battled the. So I guess that's why people are looking at it. Yeah, from where price is right now, if it can get over this 23.6 fib, then 699 would be next, 25% higher, and then maybe come back and test down here, and then 61% higher from where price is now if it can get to the 618 at $9.04.
All right, very good. And I have Costco on deck here, but I actually do want to show RX as well. And we can see that RX on my chart, it did kind of do like a double bottom, but basically back in May of 2023, and it did wick below it quite a bit, but it stabilized above it. So that is a good development, but it's not even breaking above the conversion line. So I'd love to see 584 right there break above before it kind of goes higher. But right now it's getting rejected. So basically that gray angle right there is right around 540. So just maybe stabilize on top of there. It is kind of creating like a little mini bull flag there. So perhaps it can break above. But yeah, the stock has been kind of punished a lot, but it has potential. It's just in a big resistance zone right now because not only is this a previous support zone that was lost and flipped to resistance right here with this low, but it's also stuck under the conversion line, stuck under all the averages, under the cloud as well. So let's watch this 584, try to break above that, and then if so, it can go higher. And for Costco here, and I do see a question about does your tier 3 members also to get your videos? I mean, yeah, I do video updates for everybody on tier 3 for stocks and crypto, but for the private live streams in the morning, that's only tier 4. Tier 4. So yeah, Costco, we can see that the 2.272 is resistance, right? It's been resistance for a while for Costco. 1030, that's the goal to break above to get a lot more bullish. It is above all indicators, so it does look pretty nice. But a lot of people might be saying, "Ooh, it looks like a head and shoulders going on right here," right? So we got to be a little bit cautious, and I think that's warranted simply for the fact that it can't really break above this important fib. Really, it tried for a few weeks, but it failed. So in order to get more bullish on this, it's got to break above and stay above this 1030. Otherwise, it could just come back down to retest maybe the 50-week moving average again, 917, or maybe even the cloud in the 920s, 930s in that zone. So I would say it's just range bound in the moment here between like the cloud and that 1030. So nothing too exciting on this chart until there's proof it can really break above this 1030.
All right. I've got XYZ block on here, and they had a really bad earnings report. Let's see, the surprise was down 42% on earnings and revenue down 6.7% from the previous quarter. And I'm just looking at the lowest low it had here recently was 38.85. And now I guess I was tracking this one to here, but it's made a higher high and a lower low than there. So we're going to move this. And right now it's still falling. So it's kind of treacherous to make a prediction. I mean, it's almost getting knocked down to where it had fallen in 2023, and slightly lower than it hit already here on April 7th. So just be careful. I don't know if a retrace is really going to help me here. Let's try from the top here down here. Yeah, it's come down. It's below this 88.6% retracement, 88.6% of the way all the way back to where the low was in 2023. So I guess it's a little premature, but let's just pretend if I was the higher low now, then look for 59.17. Well, each of these levels is a boss, right? It's got to get back over the 11.4 to get to the 23.6. And it's got to get to the 23.6 to get to 382. Um, so, look, but it should do at least the 38.2, back to the 23.6, and then on to the 123.6. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess you could enter, but your stop should definitely be, oh gosh, don't even enter yet. Just wait. Wait for it to come back up and then think about entering.
Yeah,
There you go.
XYZ
That's
is
like for
XYZ has just been really, really crazy. Like I thought it
yeah.
was gonna be a trend reversal yesterday, and right when earnings hit, like nope,
Nope.
not at all. It's been ridiculous. Yeah, just stay away for now. Yeah.
I'm guessing ONDO. That's a crypto, isn't it?
That's a crypto. Yeah, I'll take a look at that one. I have it right here. So Ondo, we can see that it is breaking back above my arc here. Good. It's getting back above the weekly cloud. Good. But it's still getting rejected by my angle, by the 50-week moving average, and the conversion line at the 93-cent area. So lots of resistance, and it refound some support. So it's really stuck in a tight range. Got to stay above the cloud really to get a lot more exciting. And that is still happening. So that cloud is really around 87, 86 cents right now. Next week, it'll be around 89 cents. So yeah, just basically try to stay above the cloud, and then I think it can start to break above this resistance. And once it's above this 50-week moving average again, then I think it could get a lot more exciting. That's 102. So 102 is the goal to start closing weekly candles above.
Very cool. I'm looking at my Palantir chart and I'm thinking it's time to change this chart around in front of before your very eyes here. Let's get rid of these and these. And uh, so I was looking at this as the 1-2. Now we've had such a big move from here to here. So it's really going to change the nature of this chart. So look how uh, 2 cycle top up to now. Now we're going to make this the top, this the bottom of all. So now the 1382 is 210. The 2382 is 315. And what are we doing now? See, I was thinking that we were coming up on resistance at the 764 earlier, but then it just kept going. So now the way it looks like now, it's just a 50% extension. So let's watch the 618 next. It could be 64, but this is the next level to watch. If it pulls back from there, then it could pull back crazy. It sounds 13 cents, but I mean, done much of that. Did this. You can see the buy order block. Let's say 382. which makes me wanna extend that to there. Sure, let's try it. Let's just change this to a 1382 chart or a 764. Alright, so here we go. Wave 3 tops out at 210, comes back to 170, and this goes on to the 2382 at 315. So, looks like I like Palantir for another, uh, 22% higher. But watch this 130.17 level. I know Matt's been talking about 125 a lot. 113.17 level could be resistance, but if it keeps going, 145.47 could be next. There you go, Palantir. I've changed my mind, and it's even bigger and more bullish than I had before.
Yeah, I like Palantir too. I think it did hit some resistance yesterday because it kind of got to that new zone, like that 120 zone. It hit that and it got rejected. So uh, I basically am a little bit cautious until it can break into all time highs for myself. Because, it's previous all time highs are still resistance. So we got to break above to get more bullish.
Yeah, when this was the 1-2, I mean, basically we were just above the 764. Um, from here to yeah, right about this is the 764, and it blew through it. And I don't know, maybe you could test back to it, 112.64. But I like my new chart. All right, what else? BT. Yep. Oh, go ahead. What do you want to do?
BTBT. Yeah, I got
BTB.
some BTBT. Bit digital.
Go right
All right,
ahead. I'm
let
gonna
me switch.
play around with Upstart.
All right, so Bit Digital, my main focus is the orange level of my GAN here, and that's at 214. Can it break above? It has not been able to since it broke down below back in March 24th. So it went right back down to the 45-degree angle. That is great. It held that. It did a bullish engulfing candle straight up to resistance, but it's kind of stuck in a range now. Let's see if it can break out above this 214, 221 level. The conversion lines right there. I needed above both of them really to see some momentum increase to the upside because it's not really a higher time frame trend reversal just yet as it's stuck under some major resistance. But support did hold down here, so that's fantastic. So I just kind of want to see breaking resistance, and it would be great to see it today. So if it is the weekly candle close today, so if it can do 221 or higher today, then I think perhaps next week we could see the continuation higher. But yeah, it is a nice looking chart now, even kind of like a double bottom with an extra liquidity grab underneath, from this 2024 low of April. So yeah, I think it's going to be good, but maybe a little bit more time to break this resistance above.
All right, very cool. Thanks, Matt. I've got
No problem.
chart now, and this is a crazy chart, and I'm going to orient. If you look at this, the all-time high 401.49, and it got punished all the way back to $11.93. From that bottom, you can see I've got here on the right the fib retracement levels from the bottom back to the top. And what happened was it made a good start. Look right here, um, in 2024, it couldn't get above the 11.4, hit the cloud. It did get a God candle past 11.4. It was screaming on its way to the 23.6, and it fell short. And then it kind of meandered a bit. Still, it got a higher high in February, but couldn't get back to the 23.6. So it went all the way back to, well, gosh, it plunged below the 11.4, tested back up to 11.4, and then we got this lower low. Um, so now all of this that I thought was going to happen back in January is gone. Delete this, delete that, delete whatever this note was. But we can still look at this ABC retrace. It's still trying to do this. The 382, 236, 618. You can even see that the market sell order blocks are perfectly aligned with this. So I'd say the risk reward is pretty good again with Upstart. From here back from where price is right now in pre-market to 11.5630, it'll probably toe that line again. That's 14% higher. If it can get over it, test back to it as support, then maybe it can get back to the 23.6 fib. which is 109% higher than where price is right now. And then if it can turn that into support, it should go for the 382, 160.60, which is 226% higher from now. So the risk reward is great from here with Upstart. Just put your, I think put a stop out, maybe right just below where the Ichimoku cloud crosses from red to green here on the 8-hour chart, about 43, 44. Put your stop below there to stop out in case it does a plunge or something. There you go. There's my Upstart chart. I guess overall, I didn't
Right.
say
Yeah.
here's the top could be 422% if it gets to the 618 from where price is now. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Pretty nice. Yeah, I got Upstart and Hood on deck here. So
Mm,
Upstart for me, yeah, it's trying to really break above my 50-week moving average while maintaining this 3 at 2 fib. So it does look better and better. 45.89. Hold that, it goes higher, right? That's all that really matters. Stay above the 382 fib. It is getting rejected by the bottom of the cloud and the conversion line right now, so it's kind of stuck in a range, and there's really not going to be any momentum to the upside until that $50 zone breaks as a resistance. So range bound, right? $50, $45, that's the range. And once it breaks that resistance, I think it can start to get into the cloud and go higher. So yeah, Upstart is starting to look better and better. And with Robinhood, we can see got a big rejection yesterday with earnings with 49.52, 786 fib. And I think that is perfectly normal because it usually doesn't break free after it breaks back below on the first hit, right? The first couple of weeks it did try to break it, but it's just a normal retrace. And that baseline back below is also around $45. So I think stabilize on top of $45, then it'll break that $50 zone as well, just like Upstart, right? Same kind of range, 45 and 50. And if it does break back above that 786, then I see a lot of upside again back towards the 60s and even break through that again to the 80s and above. So yeah, I think Robinhood's going to be a fantastic play in the future, but right now it's range bound and it has to break this big resistance. And I ultimately think it can get to the blue level of the GAN 140s and also the 1.272 at a minimum. That's what I think this cycle. So probably the 150s, 160s, 170s. I think that's in the cards in Robinhood's future.
I would go so far to say is I think it get to the 160s. I think my 2236 is a 163.17.
Very
So
good.
the
Yes, bullish.
5-wave cycle. Yeah. The wave 3 tops out at $103.07 right now for me. And just to let you know, the 8-hour Ichimoku baseline is exactly where it touched back to after the earnings release. And now we're back up high again, over it again. All right, Matt, why don't you do the rest of them? Your stuff is pretty popular today.
Oh, the crypto
I see
stuff. Yeah.
ADA and PLT and Link and yeah.
Okay, I'll do the crypto stuff. ADA, here we are. It's trying to break above the 200-week moving average as we speak right now, but there is still a few days left before this weekly candle closes on Sunday. So we can see ever since it broke below it here back in March 3rd, it could not close a weekly candle above it at all. But it retested the cloud, retested the orange arc and the 100-week moving average perfectly. So all that support held. It's just looking to break resistance, which I think it can. I think maybe this week or next week, I think it can start to break above and get closer to the baseline and stuff above. So great developments for 88. And I think once it starts to break this 200-week moving average, it'll be nothing but some up for a while before the next resistance. And I do see Link on the chart as well. I did talk about Link a little bit before, and Link is stuck. It's stuck in a range, a new range, mind you, because it did lose the 200-week and the 100-week moving average, but it got back above it and it back tested support yesterday. So that's really a good thing, right? The 100-week and the conversion line, it broke out above, back tested it. So I love that. I love the breakouts. I love the back test and the successful back test above, on top of that. So now we have the 50-week and the top of the cloud around 1550 and the 50% level at 1589. So it's also range bound, looking to break resistance. And I think just give it a little bit more time and it can. So just stabilize on top of that 1392 zone. And then I think it's really going to go higher and higher. But it's not going to really launch until it's back above the 1589. And once it's back above there, it does really have a lot of room to go back to the 20s. So Link does look better and better. And we can take a look at TLT as well. TLT. So TLT, this has been kind of bearish for a while, right? We can see that it did break above for like a bull trap up here back in September of last year, but then it's been in a downtrend and it's been continuing its downtrend, and it's now stuck under everything. It's stuck under the cloud, stuck under the conversion line, baseline, 150-week moving average, everything. So there's really nothing exciting about TLT at all, except maybe it's holding support, right? Maybe this January 25 low, it's making some higher lows, but it's making lower highs. So it's not in any kind of trend. It's just kind of neutral. It's just looking for direction, in my opinion. But I think it's going to continue that trend. But so far, until it's either makes a lower low or it gets on top of the weekly cloud or here, there's really nothing to discuss. It's just stuck in a range, and that range is ultimately like the mid 80s up to the mid 90s up here. That's the range, and it's quite boring. Oh, and I see AI. Somebody's asking about that, so let's take a look at C3 AI. So C3 AI actually drew this path a while ago, and this is still playing out, right? It's staying above the 45-degree angle. It's actually getting back above the conversion line, which is great. So there we are, right? Your support zone is around $21. Just stabilize on top of that, and then I think it can eventually get above the orange level of my GAN here around $24. So range bound, just like a lot of things, but I think it has that potential now to stabilize in that zone and eventually trend higher and higher.
That path looks really good.
Yeah.
I like how it agrees with the Ichimoku cloud and everything.
Yeah.
It just wants to
So
revert back to
yeah,
the trend line.
yeah. I think a lot of things are stuck right now. I think a lot of things look like they're holding support, but like I mentioned earlier on in the show, things are approaching resistance. So I think we got to be a little bit cautious in those resistance zones. Really. Do you have any other charts you want to share before we run away?
I'll just show my my VIX chart here, and just a reminder of how things were just so terrible. August 5th, 2024, we just shot right through fear, extreme fear. It went from extreme greed right there. There's a little wick to extreme greed, and we just went right to beyond absolute panic. August 5th, 2024, and then things calmed down really fast, like a V-shaped recovery. And then things looked pretty good for a while until December, when things started to sell off a lot, and then that's where I wish I'd gotten out. Instead, I just kind of watched my portfolio do this. All fell into absolute panic on April 7th again. But now things are trending really quickly back into greed. And so these are 1-hour candlesticks. So many hours. So now if you look at it, the chart has really dropped off this morning before them open. So even, way greedier than yesterday. I think lots of things will probably want to go higher. Just be careful when it does come up to this zone around here, right about between where it is now and 22.09, where I've got my greed line drawn. Look for a potential rebound, but we're just oscillating between the market's trying to decide if it wants to be more greedy or more fearful, and it's definitely been trading towards more greedy. So I think it won't
But
be
yeah,
long before we're back. Was I cutting
sorry.
out?
You're No. I was gonna say your greed line kind of matches where everything is at resistance on like the SPY and the QQQ and all that stuff. So yeah, it's looking like it's time to be a little bit cautious, maybe next week or the week after.
Yeah, I think I drew my greed line based on this candle right here and that wick. and then, this battle right about here. So below here, I think we're gonna be super greedy. I mean, super good. Like, things are gonna just start taking off once the VIX gets below 2209. So there you have it. I think do you have time for FET or do you wanna go?
Yeah, I can do fetch. But yeah,
Okay.
it's got to get below that greed line though before things really start to
Yeah.
accelerate. But I think there might be a bounce there on the VIX first before we break it.
Yeah. These are completely subjective lines. I drew these myself. That doesn't come from anywhere other than my own brain, but feel free to use them.
Yeah, very nice. All right, yeah, I'll do fetch before I run away. And here we go. Fetch, we can see it broke back about the 200-week moving average. It is holding it as support. This is fantastic. So it held the blue level of the GAN right there perfectly, bounced, recovered a lot of support, and now it's still holding at a higher level. So I expect fetch to go higher, 80s, and even back to the dollar range sooner than later. So fetch looks like it's going to have a nice recovery fairly soon. So in regards to that, guys, yeah, crypto assets, they still look very nice, very, very bullish, but a lot of stocks, like I mentioned before, with the QQQ, SPY, all that stuff, I think it's approaching some resistance. So just got to be a little bit cautious at resistance there with that until we get proof it wants to break. So until then, I will see you guys on Monday.
Yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. There's rumors that we might do a Triumvirate show next Tuesday. Those
Yay,
rumors were started by
Triumvirate Tuesday.
Cam.
Yeah, he started without even consulting us too.
Oh, no, it's just fine. We've been
No,
waiting
I
for
love it
them.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. TGIF, everybody, and have a great weekend.
Yes.
And you too,
See you
Matt.
guys. All right. Bye bye.